Welcome to Laugh and Learn, where curiosity leads and laughter lifts. I'm Gerald, joined by Timy Raven, Linda de Gonzalez, and Maru. Today, we bring the duality pairs into action with a live duality reading led by Timy. Yay!
Yay! Finally.
I love it.
It's been 3 months.
Let me tell you, every time we've done this, Timmy's like, can we do a reading? Can we do a reading? Can we do a reading? And I kept saying, yes, when we finish with the basics. So this is a demonstration, not an audience reading. And it's a chance to see these concepts at work.
Right.
Because it's who we are, we will absolutely be the peanut gallery, Linda, Gerald.
We'll be kibitzing.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
And by the way, does Wanda have any almonds to keep her occupied?
Yes, she does.
Okay, because I mentioned
almond treat supply.
Linda came prepared.
Linda.
They sit right here by my laptop.
Linda's very snowy behind you. I noticed that last couple times I saw you online.
Yeah, this is the backdrop that I was waiting for that came like after Christmas, but okay, whatever. It's still winter here, so.
Mm-hmm. It will be for a while yet.
Yes, we have to get through February.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I'll bring with the spring.
Yeah. I do see some people here who are with us. Linda de Gonzalez is here. We have River. We have Dr. Pam, who, of course, I'm going to mention Dr. Pam's book,
Wrote a book,
Happiness Code, which is on my stack of to read.
Yeah, mine too.
Go and buy it.
So, Sunny, hello, good to see you. And Timy, okay, so go back to the playlist. It is linked in the description, as are all of our links. Please do the thing where you like and subscribe to all of our channels, because liking and subscribing are free. So is sharing this video with somebody who might be interested in it.
Yeah.
And of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really. And Sunny, Moira, Angie Burks is here.
Angie and Moira.
Great to see everybody. Timy.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn this over to you, and I'm going to say, how would you like to start talking about the way you do a duality-focused reading?
Okay.
I'm going to put you on a big screen.
Okay.
Not that big screen. This big.
Yeah.
This big screen.
There we go. Well, the card spread that I ended up using developed over time, and a lot of it changed because of the discussions that we've been having about the 10 dualities. We've been refining the ideas and the meanings of the cards and fitting them as pairs. The whole concept is, the cards have individual meanings and they have historical weight and have been discussed for centuries. But what I'm doing here with the group is we're creating duality pairs. So there's a specific meaning that the cards have when you pair them together, and they go in order. Card 1 and 2 is the first pair, card 3 and 4 is the second pair. And as we had our discussion and we were integrating the tree of life into the discussion, I realized that I'll put the tree of life up so we can all see it. Bing. There it is. So my card draw sort of came out of this. Those performative dualities in the middle: decisions, motivations, relationships, and boundaries. Whenever I would do what I would call an expressive card read, where I had a specific question I was answering, all of the dualities that came up were in those four in the middle. And it just seemed like overwhelmingly, when I had a specific question, I would figure out what duality was at hand, and it was always one of these four. It was rarely humility or insight or spiritual enlightenment or receptive energy or expressive energy. It was always the four in the middle when I had a specific question.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it sort of came out of that where I thought, well, what if I had a card draw for each one of those spheroids, each one of those dualities that comes out of the because I was trying to think of I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold here, and I'm
take a breath
on cold baths. so from all of the self reads that I did developing this card draw, it evolved into this structure where we have the four elements in the middle. To my eyes, if we take boundaries, for example, I think that's equated to the earth element, and it's also equated to wow, I'm really sorry.
It's okay, Timmy.
Cold medicine
it's
here.
Okay.
So
yeah, deep breath. It's all good, because that'll give me a chance to say, Pamela said, very excited for today's show. And we are double blessed because we're squared. We have Pamela Batchelor, who said, Happy New Year, everyone here to listen and chat. Moira said, that's very interesting. And Bernadette is here. This is cool.
All right, so what we'll do is you all know how tarot works, so I'll just show you how I do it, and then I'll explain it that way. Maybe instead of speaking in
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, decisions, relationships, motivations, and boundaries. Those are the performative dualities that happen most often. So if we go to my table.
That makes so much sense.
It does, doesn't it?
Decisions, motivation, boundaries, and relationships. Earth, air, fire, and water. Pentacles, swords, wands, cups. And you can also go into Einsteinian physics. You can go space, time, energy, and mass. And then if you go to geometry, you can go circles, lines and cuts, multiplication, and addition and subtraction. In my eyes, I think those four things all are
please tell
together.
me. Please tell me you're putting that in the book.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's in the chart too. Like if we go back to the chart, you can see the four in the middle: air, fire, water, and earth.
No, you know what I just realized, and I've been watching this for like 2.5 months, okay, looking at this chart in its various permutations. I just realized now, I'm so embarrassed, that on the left, the two basic ones are structural dualities. Then you have performative dualities. And then you have experiential dualities. Did I just miss? Well, I certainly did just miss that the whole time. But man, that makes so much sense. What you have, what you're born with, how you deal with the world around you, and then your inner experience. Boom. Mind blowing.
Yeah, it's a slippery concept, it's a little complicated. I tried to keep the chart as simple as possible, but you're right, Linda. The structural dualities and the experiential dualities don't always come up when I would do a specific question, because those are kind of 30,000 feet kind of views. But whenever I had a specific question, I did a card draw. It was always decisions, motivations, boundaries, and relationships. Most of the time, every once in a while, it would be one of those more macro areas. But so I developed the card draw. If we go back to the table, to reflect that. So you've got earth, air, fire, and water, pentacles, swords, wands, cups, boundaries and bindings, decisions, motivation, and relationships. And then up here at the top is the major arcana, where you find out the main duality that's at hand. And when I was specifically asking a question, I would go through the deck and I'd say, is it like we did with Gerald, is it motivation or is it decisions? And we decided that it was motivation. Remember?
Yeah.
You'd already made the decision, but you just weren't ready to engage with it yet. You weren't, that expanding energy was not there to push you to make it manifest itself on earth, you know? So the way I do it, and this also addresses how in the Hermetic Kabbalah, if you get really deep into it, and I've watched hours and hours of rabbinical monologues on how the tree of life works in the Kabbalah, but they're nested, you know, there's like a million trees of life because they each change depending on, you know, what's at hand, you know, what you're focusing on. And I think that this is the same way. So at the top, all the odd cards are on the right. And these are the right-hand side of each of the 10 dualities, right? And then on the left-hand side are all the even cards of the major arcana. And these are the left-hand side of the duality. And, you know, if we go through the dualities, like this one was temperance. This was a card draw that I did this morning. So I just left it on the table so we could all look at it and analyze it as sort of a technical demonstration. Yeah. So I take these two coins, I shuffle everything. I do a half-hour meditation. And while I'm listening to the music and the tones from my meditation videos, I shuffle the cards, and it takes about a half an hour. And I place these coins on the shuffled major arcana up here, right? And I shuffle those, I shuffle these two, and I shuffle all of these face down. And then at the end of the 30-minute meditation, I take these two and I put them together and I just sort of randomize them around. And then I just meditate and feel which one is stronger, which one is the heavier hand. And then I pick it. And then that's the card that's revealed, right? That's the duality at hand this morning when I did my self-read. Mm-hmm. And then these two here are just sort of, you know, the beginning of the journey is the Fool and the end of the journey is the World. And you go through all of the dualities, getting from here to here, you know? So I'll place them down so they're not distracting us.
We have a couple of questions. Moira asked, do most of the questions you receive from clients, etc., also fall within those 4 categories?
Well, I've only had one client, and that was Gerald, and it did fall into that category. It was motivation.
And okay, so let me ask.
Oh, you know, actually, I did a read for a couple AA people and my business partner, and yeah, it was always in the 4 in the middle.
Yeah. Linda, do you find that your readings fit within those 4?
My readings for myself normally kind of spread between all 3, the structural, and they kind of spread between all 3, but really the stuff that I have most of the energy behind it is always in the 4. Yeah, those 4 middle ones.
What about you, Maru?
I think the elements pretty much cover the human experience, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well
Yeah.
said. Yes. They do for me for the most part, with the occasional where we go up above that,
Yeah.
but the understanding of what is above it is explained in the 4 areas, in the 4 suits.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Dr. Pam said, do you find an overlap confusion with the question, given the nature of duality?
Well, perhaps maybe
Wow. Yes.
Gerald, when we did your read,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of went through my head, the 10 dualities, and then I said, well, it's either decision making or it's motivation. So if that's an overlap like you're discussing, then maybe that's the case, because they're if you look at the tree again, I'll bring it up. If you go to the Hermetic Kabbalah, the Jewish tradition, decisions are givura, and motivations is chesed, and chesed is an ungoverned, positive, outward radiant energy, and givura, decisions, is the sephiro that tempers and molds and forms chesed, motivation. So decisions temper motivations. They go across the tree like that. They're hand in hand. They go hand in hand. So when we did Gerald's card read, there was overlap because we had to ask more specific. I had to have a discussion with Gerald to make it more specific. It's like, well, it's either decisions or motivation. And then as we talked to it more, I heard Gerald say, well, I decided to do this. And it's like, well, you said you decided. So I guess you really have decided to do it, right, Gerald? And he said, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I was like, well, okay, then it's motivation then is the imbalance, right?
Yeah.
So there was sort of a overlap, if that's what you mean, Pamela, by overlap, perhaps, because it can get subtle, when you're trying to do the interpretation.
Oh, so there's a discussion to narrow it down. Got it.
Right. Yeah.
I also think I would say, and she said, yes, it did, Timmy. I would say for me, I don't start a reading for a private reading without a discussion of the question to really understand and to get a deeper understanding of it, because a good question results in a good and in a helpful reading.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, because in the discussion, both you and your client are clarifying, and the client may come with I don't want to say unformed, but kind of a foggy understanding and not really understand what they're asking. But I think that with the more clarity that you can bring to your reading, not just as a reader, but as a querent, the more clarity you have around your question, the easier it is for me to read, Yeah.
What I remember from the Hierophant card is that the more information you have on the subject, the more accurate your intuition will be.
Yes.
Ooh,
well, yes.
I like that. Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
And I would describe that from the way that I've been developing this. That's the expressive read. I have a version of this that's the expressive read where I'm answering a specific question for myself, usually, I've done a couple of reads like the one with Gerald, but mostly, I've done hundreds of self reads, and the expressive read was I have a question, and then I discuss with myself, because I have a foggy idea of what the question is, even within my own head, and this helps me make the next right decision, and finding out which duality I'm in helps me clarify my thoughts and clarify what my next move is going to be, and that's why as an AA recovering alcoholic guy, this just appealed to me. I love the visual aspects of it and the art aspects of it, and I love the psychological aspects of it, and I like the sort of almost like quantified scientific aspects of it, and it helps me make the right decision. So that's an expressive read, but I think that it's important to have a receptive read where you open your spirit and yourself to be in a completely receptive mode and take some advice.
Yeah.
And I wanted a receptive draw that would allow me to do that, because what I found is I do card reads pretty often on things that are significant in my life, but I'm finding less and less things that are significant in my life. I mean, they still come up regularly, but I'm not just crushed with problems anymore because I've been attending to my issues, and part of it is doing these card draws. So I'd sit down and I'd want to do a card read, but I didn't have a question. So it's like, well, what else could I explore here? And I thought a receptive read would be interesting.
I love that. All right. Will you go back to showing us your read?
Yeah. So, back to the table. So this was the read that I did this morning. I scrambled the coins and everything was shuffled and face down. And I chose the moon side, the blue coin, which is on the left side of the dualities. These are the major arcana cards here, the duality. So Temperance was the imbalance. That's the card where the imbalance is occurring, and it's in the duality of decision making. Oh, and I can't show that. Can I? Wait a minute.
Dr. Pamela said,
No,
you've changed the lens with which you view the world, Timmy.
I guess maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Wait a minute. Can I do this? I swear to God.
Well, you don't have to swear to God. I mean, you could swear to.
Yeah,
no. You can swear in front of all of us.
Yes.
I was going to bring up the duality slide for decision making, but it's not coming up. Like I was saying, I had some technical redesigns that I did. So anyway, an imbalance in decision making. Temperance versus the death card. So I'm missing the death card here. So my imbalance is regarding my decision making. And this is my receptive read. So then I revealed all these cards here. So in decision making, I do that first. I've got the Queen of Swords delivering the One of Swords, the Ace of Swords. And then over on motivation side, I've got the Queen of Wands delivering the Two of Wands. And then down here in boundaries and bindings, I've got the Queen of Pentacles delivering the Two of Pentacles. And then down here in relationships, I have the Knight of Cups delivering the Four of Cups. So
you did a reading. You pulled 3 queens out of the same reading.
Well, the elements are separated.
Yeah,
See,
there's only the 4 court cards to pull from.
So it's going to be one of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's pulled the court cards for each element and the ace through 10 for each element.
Okay.
But that's part of the interpretation, because notice how I have 3 queens here. And I think that when the court cards match, like particularly here, I would say that my decision making and my motivation are pretty well synchronized here. It's the Queen delivering that type of energy, which is a good energy for decision making and motivation. It's robust, empathetic. And I have the 1 card here, the Ace of Swords, and then I have the 2 card here of the Wands. That's synchronization of the decision making and the motivation process.
I love that.
That's a good sign, that they're very close together in their synchrony. That this means that I'm hesitating too much for some decision in my life right now. There's a decision in my life that I need to take, and I'm stalling. I'm leaning too hard into the temperance mode. So I do this
the
draw.
2 cards usually signify choice. So your motivation and your boundaries seem to be what you're trying to choose in with those 2s.
Yeah, well, my interpretation here was that these 3 elements seem pretty well together, but there's a little bit of drama down here with the 4 of Cups.
Yeah.
And it's being delivered by the Knight. And my imbalance up here in decision making is that I'm stalling. And I'm thinking that, this is the card, the 4 of Cups, where you're in an emotional journey, 1 through 10. This is the 4 card where the honeymoon is over, and perhaps things aren't quite as clear as they were at the very beginning. They have some of the cards have the, 1 cup is being offered, but the person leaning against the tree is only looking at the other 3. So that kind of targeted to me that this was where my hesitation is coming from in my decision-making process, that I need to resolve. I need to think about either broad social relationships or maybe an intimate relationship, sexual or otherwise, that I need to attend to. And it's causing...
You've had more than enough emotion and someone is bringing you more.
Right.
Yeah.
You could say that. What do you guys think? What is your interpretation of this draw?
There was a question. Moira asked, was there a question for this reading, or was it just a general reading?
This was a general reading.
Okay.
This was a fully divinatory general reading.
Yeah. One thing that I find very interesting, you've got an ace and a queen and a 2, a queen and a 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4 with the Knight.
Yeah.
For me, queens are equally powerful as the king. They just demonstrate the power of that suit a little differently.
Yeah.
So for me, this is a very nurturing, wanting you to be successful and letting sort of pointing the way and giving you options and choices, like Maru said.
Yeah.
You've got choices on the way you think and what you do with your physical environment.
Yeah.
Right.
I went out on, I jumped on the gate of that. What do the others think for the reading?
Well, the temperance card talks about, it's testing, it's mixing. I think temperance is basically the balance card. So your balance is in imbalance for some reason.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting interpretation. Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that the 2 of Pentacles and Wands resolves into the 4 of Cups.
Yeah. And to me, this seems to be pointed as the outlier. This might be where the imbalance is, that I'm having second thoughts about some sort of a relationship, maybe, or I'm being distracted when I shouldn't be distracted on a relationship journey.
Something emotion. Well, maybe not a relationship,
I'm hesitating.
but emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions generally. I would hesitate to say relationship.
I mean, that's
I say that because
designated as the relationship.
This is the relationship
category.
element, category. Yeah.
It's in the relationship category.
Yeah, but
it's not necessarily a person-to-person relationship. It's
right.
just
Relationships
a relationship
can be...
to your environment that's bringing up these negative emotions.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold up my tiny hand and I'm going to say, Maru, I agree with Maru with the temperance. It's the card about mixing things together and imbalance and seeing what works. these other, the queens are very balanced and there are choices. Perhaps you need to get some emotion behind what you're doing so that a 4 is still it's an even number. Perhaps you need to do something to elevate the emotional connection to the things that are going on.
Right.
Add a little bit
remember,
more emotion.
I like that.
And this is the expressive
That feels
side,
good.
and this is the receptive side. And when you do the draw like this, it's indicating that you're leaning too far onto your receptive side. So these things over here aren't engaging in the way they should be because you're spending too much time over here thinking about stuff, It's time to engage. And then my interpretation is this is where my hang up is, That's why I'm hesitating, because everything over here is ready to go. Everything's looking great, but I'm not engaging my expressive side because I'm wallowing a little too much on the receptive side in a decision-making process.
You need to become the Knight of Cups and bring your emotion.
Yeah, I mean that would be a way to look at it too.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to gently say I agree with what Maru just said.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels right to me.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to do a fresh one? You want to do a receptive read for Maru, I think, volunteered?
I did.
Okay.
Yes,
And I'm ready when you are.
And
I wonder if you can. I'm going to do a quick experiment before we get into it. Can we try this?
Sure.
Of course. Let them be
It's
the Knight
your
of Cups.
show,
Try
Timmy.
something. Yeah, be the Knight of Cups.
All right, hang on one sec. I'm struggling a bit here.
Do you need me to cause a distraction? The distraction is, everyone, please like and subscribe because it's free. Maru's Amazon wish list is there if you want to support her that way. Linda, Maru, and I all do private readings. Linda's
my Patreon link is in the description.
thank you.
I have a membership. I am this close to 1,000 subscribers. So please, if you aren't already subscribed to all of our channels, if you're lurking, please subscribe to all of our channels.
And after the show, if you can promote it or hype it, please do so.
Yeah.
You can, purchase responsibly, know your limits. You can do all that. Ooh, look what he's doing. He's trying to put himself up there.
Can you hear this? Where should the level be? Because I can't monitor it correctly. Can you barely hear it right about here?
Hear what?
We can hear you fine.
You can hear my voice, but you can't hear any music? Or
correct?
No, no music.
All right, I didn't think it would work. All right, so hang on. I'm gonna turn it off in my ear so I can't hear it. But you can see up in the top left there.
Yeah.
That's one of my meditation videos, and there's an audio track that's connected to that. And that's what gets me in the mood. I listen to this it's an hour-long meditation, and I listen to the audio while I'm shuffling the cards and setting the table up, and that's how I get into the zone for doing a meaningful read. So, but I'll just let it run without the sound. We'll do it that way. All right. So, how did I have these cards? Can I just shuffle them the way they are? All right. So we'll turn them over.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, Timmy might be available to do readings for people.
Maybe. Let's see. These all in order.
Let me see if I have any words that can be sort of interesting. Here you go. Let me play this. This section of the video is brought to you by the word joy. Everyone say it with me.
joy, joy. The emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune, or by the prospect of possessing what one desires. Like, share, subscribe, and spread the TarotStache joy. Joy.
You all thought I was going to play a different video, didn't you?
I thought it was going to be a word like codswallop.
God swallow.
You know,
Or collywomble.
I do have a running collection of words that I just need to sit down and get into the rhythm of. And yes, Dr. Pam, I know people were expecting that. I am having a guest on my channel on Sunday, Lexi, who's coming on for a casual to get to know you. Tomorrow, I am having a light language conversation. Later today, Linda has got Akashic Adventures.
Yes.
So, oh, I love this. MOYST.
I don't think it makes any difference for those who are sensitive to the word.
That sort of reminds me of Alison Moyet, who is a great singer.
Mm. Almost there.
Sensitive
See,
to
this-
moisture, it causes chafing.
We are going to lose Pamela Batchelor, who's just like, she's probably got us on the big screen.
Oh, poor Pamela. They shouldn't torment her like that.
No. I will say, subscribe to my channel. I have my 5th TarotStache channelversary on Friday. And I'm thinking after my live with Sun Psychic Jean, I may do some caffeinated and unfiltered readings by myself. Because one can never be too caffeinated. Even Wanda agrees.
She's the one who'd know. She just had some tea with me.
Very nice.
So she's well caffeinated. As you can tell, she's snapping at me every time I raise my hand to cuddle her.
Pamela's like, no, I'm here. And yes, you're on the big screen. Stop, please, tormenting me.
I know. That's what I said. Don't do it.
Apologies, Pamela.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say apologies and giggle. Come on.
No, and I always, when we're ready to do the draw, I always put a coin in the bowl. I like the way it sounds.
Yep.
Nice.
Cross my palm with silver.
So moon side, sun side, receptive side, expressive side. And that's how the major arcana cards are split. The odd cards are the expressive side, and the even cards are the receptive side. So then I just, to do, a divinatory self-read, sort of mix these around, kind of spin them. Okay, Maru.
Left
Which one
hand,
do you pick?
please.
Receptive side. So the duality in question for Maru is the Emperor, which is expressive energy in general. This whole side.
The Emperor certainly is in question, but we're not doing political readings, are we?
Well, this duality represents your expressive energy, This is the the left side of that duality. So let's reveal all the cards on the right side. Reveal the cards on this side. So we've got the Queen of Swords delivering the Six of Swords. We've got the King of Wands delivering the Seven of Wands. We have the King of Pentacles delivering the Four of Pentacles. And the Queen of Cups delivering the Four of Cups.
Oh,
So 2 4s here.
yeah.
6 and a 7 there. So
What were the court cards again? We had a king.
king, a queen, and a knight.
Okay.
This wasn't a king. This is a knight. Knight of Wands.
Okay.
My
So
passionate defense of human rights.
Mhm.
so for this duality, I'm going to bring it up on my screen so I can see it. Oh, there it came up. Okay, so here's the duality. Expressive energy. Willfulness manifests through assertive boundaries, motivation, and keen insights. The Empress, which is on the right-handed elemental willful side, and the Emperor on the spiritual willful side, represent expressive outward flowing energy. Expressive energy fuels insight, motivation, and boundaries and bindings, flowing outward as intentional manifestations. This outward flow of expressive energy transforms potential into concrete outcomes into the world of manifestation. So I would say, Maru, that you are leaning too far to the spiritual side of expressive manifestation. And it's suggested that you lean more toward the expressive side of manifestation, which is the Empress. You need more Empress energy to balance this out. So how can we interpret this? So this is one of the ones where the duality is one of the structural dualities, right? So it's
Mhm.
a bit of a different approach when you're interpreting the cards. So this is saying, you know, I see the Emperor as the, what would you say? He's the administrator. He's sort of the non-emotional administrator,
The organizer.
the organizer. You know,
He's the planner.
if 10% of the realm
Operations
be
manager.
sacrificed for 90% of the realm, he'll make that dispassionate decision. However, the Empress is the one who cares about individuals. She brings you know, innovation. She brings help. She's the one that she's the mother that she cares about individuals. The Emperor not caring so much about individuals. He's thinking more about the overall health of the realm. So what this is saying, Maru, is that you're pushing a little bit too much in your expressive energy toward the more dispassionate side of energy, and you need to bring in more Empress energy into your expressive activities, which would be, you know, your boundaries and bindings, your motivation, and your insight. So interpreting this is going to take some effort. So one of the things that I'm a little weak on is I have to look up the Pips cards.
We can
You guys
help.
want to take a stab at this while I look up?
Well,
Gerald
the
was
Six of
wrong.
Swords is
Yeah.
basically moving from a dangerous situation to a more safe one, I think.
And it's also knocking down, solving problems in everyday life.
Okay.
So
Right.
in that movement, and we have that with the Queen.
And that's in decision making.
Yeah.
Okay, I do find it interesting because you were mentioning the Empress. We have two queens there, which are all minor versions of the Empress.
Mhm.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
So it's not that it's lacking; it's there. These queens have their feet on the ground. They're with the people and the realms that they're working with.
Let's see about the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, conflict, struggle, and a need to defend a position. So this is motivation.
Mhm.
So there's a bit of a fraught activity happening with motivation, and this is the expressive side that's being neglected. So there's some motivation in your life that's in conflict. And then with the 6 of
I do
so slow
express
at this.
myself like about that sort of generally, but maybe not enough personally.
Right.
Ah,
So in your decision making, as we said, transition, moving on from a difficult situation, and in your motivation, it's also, in a very defensive spot, and you're leaning more toward the spiritual side of expressive energy, and this is suggesting you need to lean more toward the Empress side of expressive energy. And there's definitely some conflict up here. Let's see what's going on down here. So the 4 of Pentacles, let's look at that one.
do you have any idea about the 4 of Pentacles, Maru?
Well, I see it in 2 different ways. Some people call it greed. Some people
Right.
call it being financially stable.
Yeah.
So I would say that this is a financially stable coin, delivered by the King, which is, a very mature energy. I see simplicity here. This is your Earth area when it comes to this expressive energy imbalance. So if we look at the 4 of Cups, that's we had that one before when we looked earlier. It was
Yeah.
so the 4 of Cups, introspection, apathy, and contemplation.
It was exactly that, Maru. Yeah.
So the read here is starting to come together. There's a neglect of a certain type of expressive energy, and it's the more emotional expressive energy, the more engaging expressive energy. I see this, the Emperor expressive energy is more of the dispassionate kind of intellectual, spiritual energy, right? But this is our animal side, our biological side, and there's a disengagement of that side. And it's unfortunate because it sounds like, assets can be many different things. The obvious one is it's money, but it can be, agreements, contracts, situations that are going well. I mean, this looks like a positive Earth area here for this card draw, but your motivation is definitely a bit fraught, as well as the decision making. So what this is maybe saying is that if you engage in a more emotional, expressive energy, things might start becoming untangled, And is there any worry about your boundaries and bindings, your Earth assets, your things like that? Do you have any worry about that?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on SSI and food stamps, and I don't know how long I will be.
Right. So perhaps this is a pullback, an emotional pullback from, worry about financial stability, and your motivation is all confused, and your decision making is perhaps confused as a result of this. It's infecting your relationships too, and maybe not such of a personal, positive way. So the solution may be to engage more, less.
I mean, we're all
dispassionately and
struggling
more
and,
expressively. Yeah.
It makes relationships hard. What do they say? When poverty comes in the door, love goes out the window?
Right.
Moira did say that the King and the 4 of Pentacles feels very Emperor energy. I would say the fact that that's there, that is I think that's the core foundation of where this reading is. And these other things need to support that, because if you don't have that foundation with the pentacles, all of the other stuff struggles. Like you said, Maru, when poverty enters the door, love goes out the window.
Mhm.
Right. So from this read, I would say that maybe it's motivation that needs to be dealt with. Maybe focus on your motivation for expressive things that you're engaging with today, like now,
Mhm.
that are involved with this financial issue down
Defend
here.
myself.
I mean, that maybe if you work on motivating yourself in a more emotional, Empress expressive kind of way, when this starts coming together and it'll be, supporting this side, then maybe these things will start to follow suit, because your decision making it looks like a little bit of a pause, a pullback, an exhaustion. The 6th card is right past the midpoint on your decision making side. So you maybe have exhausted in your decision making process, and your motivation is very defensive. So, and relationships are at the 4 point when it comes to this issue, this expressive energy issue. So I would suggest that, find your Empress energy, your expressive energy, and begin working on motivation, motivating yourself to try something new, maybe make a new decision over here, like wipe these cobwebs out of the way, make a fresh new decision and a fresh, re-energized, expanding motivation to engage on your expressive side, and not the dispassionate one, like the accountant expressive side, but the emotional, like fighting for things side. I would say that would be what this card draw is indicating.
Make it
Right.
personal. Make it personal.
Okay, thanks, Timmy.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me read for you.
Mhm.
I hear people say that. Yeah. So, what we just did was we were discussing in a very not a detailed way with Maru, but we were discussing an issue that's engaged in Maru's life right now. So this sparks conversation, and it sparks embrace of change. I think it gives a clarity.
Self-examination, which is what tarot is supposed to do for you.
Yeah.
Right. Insight and humility, knowing who you are and what you are, what you're capable of, and insight, and recognizing truth when you see it, and not running away from truth, not falling into the bedevilments that we all tend to fall into with lack of insight, and just repeating the same patterns and habits over and over again. When I do a card draw like this, it's not a hurrah, you rock kind of card draw. It's like, life is occurring, life is showing up, and there's things to be attended to. And when I do a card draw like this, it just starts focusing my attention on my own situation that seems indicated,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been in this situation before where, I'm engaging expressively with the world, with Emperor energy, but it's sort of that dispassionate Emperor energy, you're sort of like a step back from actually engaging.
Mm-hmm.
But the Empress, she's in the trenches. She cares about individuals. She cares that justice is served, that fairness is delivered. And sometimes you have to have that kind of emotional, expressive energy rather than the dispassionate, expressive energy of the Emperor. More emotional engagement in your expressive life, I think, is indicated here, so that you
with the 4 of Cups, like all the financial instability is emotionally exhausting.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, and it makes your eye wander to places that maybe aren't the best place to go, or it's just a distraction from you know, when you're at the Ace of Cups, the One of Cups, you know, everything's great. And the Two of Cups, everything's great. And 3, but 4 is when on an emotional journey, on a relationship journey, that's when things start becoming a little unfocused. What do you think, guys? What do you think?
Before we answer, Moira asked, can you repeat how the coins relates to the majors in the spread? Go ahead.
Well, I like symbols, and I chose these 2 coins because of their color. You know, one's gold like the sun, and one's sort of bluish like the moon. And I think that, you know, with the dualities, you have the moon side, the spiritual side, and the sun side, which is the expressive side, receptive side. So in order to do a card draw like this, where there's no specific question in mind, it's just a general read for a specific person, I separated the major arcana into 2 stacks. And, you know, if I go through, you know, the first duality was the Magician and the High Priestess. Justice, High Priestess. I apologize for being so fumbly. I feel real jittery from this cold medicine I'm taking.
That can happen.
So if we go with the first duality, that's what it looks like in the stack. But you know, they're shuffled. So you pick the duality that's out of balance when you do a fully receptive read. But that's how it works. You know, this side is the expressive side of the duality, and this side is the receptive side of duality. And this is the first duality of a receptive energy. So that's why there's 2 coins. It was just
it's an indication,
a way to choose, to randomly choose,
sure,
you know, through the receptive process, one of the stacks, and that indicates which duality is out of balance.
It's kind of like the more random you involve in the process, the more spirit is taking a hand, I guess.
Yeah, all of the really profound card reads that I had were after, you know, a really receptive meditation, a really engaged meditation, and then I do the card read. And when you're in that mood, you know, it's a lot easier to read the cards, I think.
Yeah.
You know, we're fighting a little bit of a technical challenge here, doing a YouTube thing. Zip tight. You know, it's let me switch back to
well, and also it's in the bottom right. That is the boundaries, the earth element too.
Yeah.
We're looking at it. So
yeah.
And Pamela Batchelor said, I used the frame for Mary K. Greer. The minor cards answered the why, the situation of the reading. Then the courts are the who that are involved in the situation. The major is the lesson.
Right. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is the major arcana are the archetypes of behavior, of human behavior, the archetypes of human behavior. The court cards are the archetypes of manifestation. These cards are the things that manifest our, you know, desires on earth. And then the numbers cards are the archetypes of circumstance, you know, 1 through 10, the beginning, the middle, and the end, and everything that happens in between are the number cards, archetypes of circumstance. Courts are archetypes of manifestation, and the majors are the archetypes of behavior. In my view.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that too.
So this is the delivery type, you know, is it a page? Is it youthful energy? Is it the knight? Is it, you know, worker bee, prime of their life, type energy? Is it the queen, who is the nurturer, the emotional, the one who cares about individuals, who's the innovator, who's the leader of men and women, I think, is the queen. And the king is the administrator of men and women. He's the dispassionate one that, you know, is the one that makes the dispassionate decisions. The queen, I think, makes the, you know, the emotional decisions in my interpretation. That's what the courts are. And then the, you know, the number cards are the archetypes of circumstance, you know, the beginning of a intellectual journey, the beginning of an emotional journey, the beginning of a motivational journey, the beginning of a earth journey of some type, and then the middle part, and then the end part. It's just endlessly fascinating to me how this works out.
I love this.
Thanks for sharing it with us, Timmy.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
You want to put your face back on the screen?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
We can finish up.
Uh-huh. There we go. I apologize for my discombobulation. I'm in the middle of a cold and I feel real jittery. So my mind
It's
is
okay.
wandering a bit. But anyway,
Fine.
that may seem a bit complicated, but it works as an expressive read too. You just go through the, you know, you do like we did, Gerald, and we decide what duality was in question, and then you lay that up at the top, and then you do the card draw as usual in the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it.
Moira said awesome. And Pamela Batchelor followed with, the queen is the creator of the world and the king is the maintainer. I love it. So many layers upon layers. And this is one of those readings, Timmy. This is I'll be a little snarky. And Saskia said, this was really interesting. Thank you. This is this isn't the am I going to get the job or is so and so going to call me? It's the really look deeply at it. This isn't physical therapy, it's surgery.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Specific, yeah. Well, I mean, it's specific in getting to the root of problems, you know,
Yes.
and sometimes you come with a question, you know, am I going to get that job? But your real question is, why can't I get a job? Or why do I always pick a job that I hate? Or, you know, that comes out as you discuss it. The reader discusses it with the querent, you know.
Absolutely. This whole
Wow,
series,
we're already at an hour. Jeez, I
Yes.
didn't realize that we're over.
Nope, you got it.
Sorry.
This whole series has been fantastic, very fun and insightful. A deep dive.
Oh yeah, really deep.
It was good.
Yeah.
I'm
I'd
like
like to
It
do
was a
one
pleasure to
tip
participate with.
I'm wondering what next deep dive Maru's going to bring into us. I just threw you under the bus, Maru.
I'm too fat to dive deep. I float.
Yeah. Well, Maru, you said you wanted to do the pips, the numbers cards, you know, the foliage on the Marseille has meaning. What was that all about?
Yeah, I
Might be
just
focused.
recently learned about that. Like someone was doing a discussion that I was watching, and they're like, "Oh yeah, all the plants and flowers mean different things," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Cool.
Timmy, what Marseille deck are you using?
This one was labeled the Ancient Tarot, I think. The Ancient Tarot. And then this one at the top is a different deck. This one.
That's the traditional Marseille. Did you
That's
get
the
it from
Barnes-
like a Borders or something like that?
Yeah, Barnes and Nobles. It was just sort of a generic deck. It was my first deck from Barnes and Nobles, and it was based on Grimaud, which I think is the 1920s. They did a version of the Marseille, so it's based on that.
Wow.
Sorry, I had technical difficulties too. You know, I set up all this whole elaborate new thing because I'm thinking of doing a live stream meditation and then a general card reading after the meditation for the people that did the meditation with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been videoing it and getting all the cool doodads together. And then when I try it today, it doesn't work. So
No.
It's you know
it
what?
doesn't work with the live stream.
I actually think we're a pretty okay group for things not to work.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't too upset. I
Yeah,
wasn't too,
because
freaked out by
I've never had anything not work properly on a live.
No, me neither. It's never happened.
No,
I'm waiting for the lightning to strike.
I didn't come on and have my volume muted and not be able to fix it.
Oh, here you go. I've got a lovely Marseille and am wanting to do a deep study into them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think the Marseille is interesting because I think that it's the first really refined version of what was being done during the medieval times. You know, the medieval times, they were all like one-off decks that were painted by court artists, you know, for monarchs, you know, very expensive, very bespoke, one-of-a-kind deck.
I have said, and this is a bit controversial, if I were to recommend the order of decks that people get, start with Marseille, because you learn the majors, the courts, and the numerology of the tarot. Then do the Thoth or Toth, Tithi Tothi Toth, because then you learn a different view of it, and then do the Rider-Waite-Smith.
Yeah.
But
I like using the Rider-Waite-Smith as a resource, you know, like I'll do the draws with the cards that I'm comfortable with, and then I can use the Rider-Waite-Smith to remind me what the pip is, you know, because when you look at the pip on the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's a lot easier to remember the meaning of it.
Yeah. Well, Linda later today has Akashic Adventures on her channel, so please go over there and subscribe. And Sherry has asked, have you seen Spiritual AF, Barnes & Noble? I've heard of it, but I've not looked into it. Maru, any chance of a pop-up live, or should just people subscribe to your channel because that's the cool thing to do?
I've still been having a little bit of health issue, so.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here.
I don't think I could support a live on my own.
Okay. Well, if you need some support, let me know.
Yeah.
I just need to go see the dentist.
I just went through that whole dentist thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right when I started doing shows with Gerald, it seemed like I was always going to the dentist in the morning before the live stream show. And I was like, man.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Marseille. No back and forth today. We will be picking that up next week. There's this thing that happens. It's called like vacation, and people setting boundaries and actually saying, you know, no. And I'm like,
I have other things to do today.
Yes.
I have boundaries.
And I love that. And I love that. So, but
my
earth
energy is finite.
Yes. Back and forth next week. Back and forth next week. And on Friday, I think I am going to probably do a highly caffeinated and unfiltered to celebrate my channelversary.
Nice.
Great.
I want to come to your channelversary.
You want to come to my channelversary?
Yeah.
Oh God, do I need to start, inviting a whole bunch of people? I don't want people to feel
obligated. People are going to want to pop in, you know that.
All right. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just randomly put up the StreamYard, and people who want to do that could do it.
Yeah, and you could just post the link in the chat, and people, and decide who you want to.
Yeah. And maybe what I could do is I could invite people on, and then I will do a caffeinated and unfiltered reading for them.
Ooh.
So,
diabolical.
Absolutely. Pamela, will see you later tomorrow, Linda. And I want to later tonight. I want to say thank you, Timmy, for sharing your insights and being willing to be receptive and hear and adjust. This was a really, really engaging conversation. Also, nice. I want to say thank you to all of you who are watching, because without you and your participation and your thoughtful participation, this would have been a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Chatters really brought it. This
Yes.
whole series, the chatters have really brought it.
yes, because I have said to people, this is exactly the sort of discourse we need. We need people who are engaged and respectful in sharing their own ideas and being willing to hear new information and having time and space to think about it. I think it's incredibly cool.
Integration.
Integration.
Yeah.
There you go. And
Carl Young.
Gwen, thank you. And mind blowing. You got a mind blowing. It was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I mean, Gerald says start with the Marseille. Well, of course, I've done everything backwards my whole life, including tarot, apparently.
Me too.
Okay.
My first real connection, my first real meeting, I guess, encounter. That's the word. My first real encounter with Marseille, and I'm fascinated by it.
The Omni on Amazon is small and cheap, so you could start there.
Okay, thank you for the recommendation.
So very intelligent people put the Marseille together during the Renaissance. You know, that was a very interesting period in human history.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a delightful rest of your day. Bye.
See you later.